Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 68.
Don't mind me, just breaking stuff.
Yeah, please don't break stuff. So episode 68. So 68 is easy. That's Jaromir Jagr.
Woo.
Yeah, unfortunately, he only played for the Flyers 1 year. Mostly, he tortured the Flyers throughout his career because he was a Penguin and a Ranger and a Cap and played against all our rivals. However, and eventually pretty much half the league. But Jagr is truly an all-time great. Hall of Famer. Was amazing, and then 1 year he was here. Him, Drew, and Scott Hartnell were a fantastic line. So much fun to watch. So, 68 is obviously we dedicate to Jaromir Jagr. Let's see, and then before I forget, so it's a ways away, but I promised I would mention it, so I want to. The South Jersey Game Worn Jersey Expo is again in September. It's September 30th. At Riverwinds Community Center in West Deptford, New Jersey.
Not casino.
Not a casino.
Not a casino.
Community Center. We'll remind you again, obviously, as it gets closer, but they raise a lot of money for the Philadelphia Flyers Warriors, and that's fantastic. And we've been the last two, so this will be the third one, and that's fun.
Yes.
People come from all over and bring game-worn jerseys, so it's either check it out, you can buy them, you can sell them, you can trade them, and it's just fun to walk through because you see a lot of stuff.
Yes, there's so much there. Oh my god, there's a whole room full. If you remember from the last episode, like a few episodes ago, actually a pretty long time ago, we posted us going there, and it was very fun.
Yep.
There was lots.
And then you did the individual one with George.
Yes, I did.
And you got to show off some of his
Actually,
collection.
twice.
Yeah. So
I interviewed him twice.
Yeah. So we just want to put that in people's heads. I mean, it's obviously not till September; it's a ways away, but just planting the seed.
Yes.
So this week's episode, we had our fan club meeting, which was a lot of fun.
Yes, that was very fun.
And then
we had some technical difficulties, but other than that, it was fun.
Yeah, there was a fire alarm pulled.
Yes.
And I forgot the microphone. So, but you got to interview Bill Meltzer.
Yes, I did.
So please stick around for that. That's going to be on the tail end of this. Bill answers some questions about Flyers goaltending, Morgan Frost, some of the future with Tyson Foerster. Also, if you haven't watched it yet, Bill did an excellent piece with the Flyers assistant GM.
Yes.
Find it on his site. Really talked about the pipeline that's coming and things like that. It was really good. And then let's see. So what else? And so the Flyers have lost the last 2 games in overtime.
Boo!
Yeah. They picked up 8 points, but they really need to start collecting 2 and 3 if they're really going to try to get back in the playoff hunt.
For real.
But they were close. Heartbreaker Minnesota. They came back late. Sonny D'Angelo scored that killer goal at the end. But
yeah, I watched the end of the game with you.
Yeah. So really thought they were pulling all the way back into that one. So. But that's kind of where we stand. Got All-Star Weekend next weekend, so we'll talk about that.
We get to bring out all of our All-Star stuff.
I got a few All-Star jerseys from over the years, so we will.
Do you have any bobbleheads? Yeah, you do. I think you have a bobblehead.
I will have to look if I have an All-Star specific bobblehead. But
yeah, you have to look because I feel like you have one. I feel like it's like over there for some reason.
Can't say it would surprise me if I did. So
fair.
Okay, so thank you for watching this episode. Please stick around. Right now, we're going to go to Bill's interview with Cheyenne. It was really good. As always, Bill, thank you for doing interviews and the support you've given us. Yes. And I think that's pretty much it, unless you have anything else to add.
No, not really. I think we're pretty good.
Okay. Hit the button.
Bye. Bye. Hello, everybody. My name is Cheyenne, and I'm here with
Bill Meltzer.
And I'm going to ask him 4 questions today. In what year and how did you get started writing about the Flyers?
Started writing. Well, years ago, before I ever did it for a living, there were message boards. Before there was, so there was we used to call them Usenet boards. Before people really started having big websites, and people just get on there and talk hockey, and that's where I got started. Then I wrote about the Phantoms, and then I started writing about the NHL. So it built from there.
Yeah, so just kind of built on.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice. Goaltending seems to be a strength of the team this year. What do you think about Carter, Felix, and Sam?
I think for the first time, you could say the Flyers actually are a pretty good situation in goal. We would have been having this conversation a couple of years ago. The Flyers really need to figure out what their goalie is going to be for the long term until Carter came around. I think Carter's had a good year. He had a great start to the year. The team's been up and down over the season.
But you gotta expect that.
No, for sure. I think Carter's a very good NHL goalie. You see what he just did the other night in Detroit.
As you know, I love Carter.
Yes.
It's my favorite. Love him. Carter Slay.
My son does too. He's a big goalie fan. So actually, years ago, he thought, when he was really little, he thought I was the Flyers goalie. He thought I was really cool. And he thought I was the Flyers coach. And he found out I write for the team. Nah, he didn't care about that. But yeah, so that's a good choice. Carter's a great goalie and a really good guy. Sam Urson, ton of talent. Really a lot of potential. And, with Felix, he's had some success in the American League level. Hasn't translated yet to the NHL level. But, they're making a decision as to whether they try to get him through waivers or whether they keep him in the NHL as Carter's backup.
Yeah.
Goalies tend to develop later anyway than position players. Mm-hmm. It's usually forwards develop the first, then defensemen, then goalies. And Felix is still young, so that's not a bad situation. They also have a couple guys who are in the system too, like Alexei Kolosov is a goalie from Belarus. 21 years old, and he's already in his third year in the KHL. So it might be about 2 years till he comes over here. But he's a guy in a couple years I think we'd be talking about if we did this again.
Yeah. You always preach patience with Morgan Frost, and he still has room to grow, but he is playing well and producing. What do you think of his season so far?
Well, I think that one of the things Morgan did, to me, right off the bat, other people disagree, but Morgan, I think, pushed himself out of his comfort zone early on, right? And things like Morgan's never been known as a physical player, and you don't have Morgan Frost in the lineup to bang bodies, but he's averaging over a hit per game, for example, right? So that's an area where he's taking himself out of his comfort zone. I think that in terms of his number of takeaways he has, he's up in the top 3 or 4 in the team in terms of takeaways. He was doing those things even before he started scoring. Yeah. I think the biggest thing with him was that they got him with line mates with some skill, who can complement what he does, and he can complement what they do. Like I think Morgan and Tippett work together really well, and JVR's experience and communication ability has been very good for that line. And I think that the biggest thing he needed was really just a dose of confidence, and now he's very confident.
I very much agree with you. The team could use some more goals. Seems like Tyson Foerster could help. What are your thoughts on him? How close do you think he is to NHL ready?
He's getting there. He definitely has a very big shot.
Yes.
A big heavy shot. Sometimes I think he can use a little more accuracy on his shooting. Sometimes you take that big heavy shot. It's likely to go over the net and go out of the zone, right? What they call rimming out, so it goes around the boards out of the zone. That happens a pretty fair amount. He runs a little hot and cold shooting wise, but I think he's bigger and stronger than he was. I think he's healthy now because he had shoulder surgery last season. I think he's getting there. I don't know if he's going to come up this year, but I think he's a guy who next year. I think he has a chance to see NHL games next year, and then it's up to him as to, does he become a regular?
Yes. Thank you for your time.
Oh, my pleasure. Absolutely, my pleasure.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.